All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive. Today we're getting into the nitty-gritty of legal liabilities in the construction world.
Okay.
Now to guide us through this, we've got some fantastic insights straight from the Gold Seal training series.
All right.
This stuff might not sound super exciting, at first glance, but believe me, it's absolutely crucial for anyone involved in construction projects. Not only is this knowledge going to help you snag that Gold Seal certification,
Right.
but it's also your secret weapon to building a successful business.
And honestly, protecting yourself from some major financial headaches down the road.
Absolutely.
I mean, we're talking about protecting your company's financial health.
Yeah.
Its reputation, and even your ability to keep those projects rolling smoothly.
For sure.
So let's dive into the 6 key steps that the source material lays out for managing legal liabilities.
Okay.
And first up, we've got understanding your contractual obligations. Now, this might seem pretty basic on the surface, but I'm curious. What are some of those hidden traps? Well, it's really all in the details. You might think, oh, I'll just grab a standard contract.
Yeah.
Everything will be fine. But even those standard contracts can be a real minefield if you don't know what to look for, what to watch out for.
That's where those CCDC standard contracts come in, right?
Exactly. So like you mentioned, the CCDC contracts, they're super helpful for outlining those roles, responsibilities, liabilities for everyone involved. And, they provide a framework, a starting point.
I'm looking at CCDC 2 here. Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty common one.
It is. It's often used for stipulating, roles, responsibilities.
So let's say, for example, we're looking at a clause about change orders.
Right.
What are some of the things people should be paying attention to?
Well, first off, you need to make sure those changes are properly documented, you've got the necessary approvals, and of course, the payment terms are updated accordingly. Because honestly, a poorly handled change order, it can really derail a project faster than you can say. Liquidated damages.
Ooh, liquidated damages. I think a lot of folks out there might be a little intimidated by that term.
Yeah, it sounds scary, doesn't it? But it's actually pretty simple. It's basically a predetermined amount that everyone agrees on in the contract to compensate for potential losses if certain obligations aren't met.
Okay, so it's kind of like a safety net.
Yeah, you could say that. It helps to protect everyone involved.
So for instance, if a project's not finished on time,
Exactly.
there might be a penalty for each day that it's late.
That's right. And those are those liquidated damages in action.
That makes sense. So it's clear that knowing the ins and outs of these contracts
Yeah.
is absolutely essential.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, the source material also talks about staying updated on regulations, which I imagine can be quite overwhelming with all the different levels of government involved.
Oh, it definitely can be. You've got federal regulations, provincial, municipal, all of them impacting the project. It's a lot to keep track of.
And this is where something like GC 10.2 and CCDC 2 comes in handy, right?
Exactly. It kind of points you in the right direction to the governing conditions for those regulations. So you're talking about things like building codes, permits, all that good stuff.
So can you give an example of how not fully understanding those permit requirements?
Sure. I've seen projects get delayed for weeks just because someone didn't quite grasp the permit requirements for a certain type of work. And let me tell you, those delays, they can get really expensive really fast.
It's a domino effect, right?
Exactly. One little oversight can lead to a whole chain of problems.
And big financial setbacks.
Absolutely.
So staying informed is definitely crucial.
Couldn't agree more.
All right, now the source also mentions being proactive, about assessing risks in contracts.
Yes.
What are some red flags people should watch out for?
So picture this. You're handed a contract, you flip through it, you get to a section on warranties, and suddenly you see some language that you don't quite understand. That's a red flag right there. Or maybe you come across a penalty clause that seems way too harsh, way too strict. These are the kinds of risks you really need to identify up front.
Before you sign on that dotted line.
Exactly.
So what can you do if you spot one of those potential landmines in a contract?
Well, first off, don't be afraid to ask questions. Talk to your legal team, or maybe you have an experienced mentor in the industry. They can provide some valuable insights.
And, of course, insurance.
Oh, absolutely. That's not just a box to check off. It's a crucial part of managing those risks.
Now, GC 11.1 of the CCDC documents, it outlines those insurance requirements.
Right. It tells you what you need to have to be properly covered.
And making sure you've got adequate coverage
Yes.
can be a real lifesaver if something goes wrong.
It's like a safety net, for sure.
Now, you might also want to think about things like performance bonds.
Yeah, those can be helpful. They provide financial guarantees If a contractor doesn't fulfill their obligations,
So many layers of protection to consider.
there are, and they all play an important role in minimizing those potential risks.
Now, the source also emphasizes the importance of documentation,
Oh, yeah.
specifically mentioning notices in writing.
It's all about that paper trail. You want to create a clear record of everything that happens on the project.
So, like, if you have a disagreement
Exactly.
with a subcontractor over materials,
If you've got everything documented, communications, specifications, any changes, all clear, all in writing, you're in a much stronger position if that dispute escalates.
because if it's not documented,
Well, it's like it never happened, right?
words to live by on a construction site.
Absolutely.
All right, now let's shift gears a bit and talk about the human element.
Okay.
The source really stresses the importance of training and educating those project teams.
Yeah, it's not just about telling people follow the rules. You want to empower them to understand why those rules are in place.
It's about creating that culture
Exactly.
of transparency, open communication.
When everyone understands the potential risks and their role in mitigating them, you build a much stronger, more proactive team.
And what about those times when disagreements do happen, even with the best planning and communication in place?
It happens. That's where alternative dispute resolution comes in.
The source mentioned that as well.
Yeah, things like mediation or arbitration, they can offer a faster, more cost-effective way to resolve conflicts.
Compared to going through the whole litigation process.
Absolutely.
Now, GC 8.3 of the CCDC contracts, that provides some valuable guidance.
It does. It helps you navigate those processes. And of course, don't forget about documentation.
That paper trail is essential.
Always, always document everything.
So to sum it all up, taking a proactive approach to legal risk management in construction, it's not just about avoiding those legal battles and project delays.
It's about building trust, reliability, strong relationships with clients.
And creating a more positive work environment.
Absolutely.
It's really an investment
Yeah,
in the overall success of your construction business.
couldn't agree more.
So, as you continue to explore, this is a fascinating world of legal risk management. I want you to consider this. How can technology like maybe AI-powered contract analysis or real-time compliance monitoring transform the way we manage legal risks in the future? Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive by Renan.